So you just bought a shiny new 4K TV, you fire it up, and suddenly you're hit with this alphabet soup on the screen. HDR10, Dolby Vision, maybe even HDR10 Plus. It all sounds impressive, but what do these actually mean? And more importantly, which one's going to give you the best picture when you're watching your favorite shows and movies? Today, we're breaking it all down, HDR10 versus Dolby Vision, in a way that actually makes sense. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what separates these two formats, which one's better for you, and whether it's worth paying extra for Dolby Vision. But before we dive in, please hit that like and subscribe button and ring that bell to stay notified on our latest content. Now let's get into it. Before we get into the details of HDR10 and Dolby Vision, let's start with the basics, HDR itself. HDR stands for High Dynamic Range, and it's one of the biggest leaps forward in picture quality we've seen in years. It's all about making what you see on screen look closer to what your eyes see in real life. HDR expands both the brightness range and the color range of an image. That means the bright parts of the picture can get brighter, the dark areas can get darker, and you'll see way more detail in both ends of that range. Think of it like upgrading from an old school light bulb to one that actually shows you every shade and nuance of color in your room. With HDR, sunsets have layers of gold, orange, and red instead of looking like a flat blob of color. Shadows reveal texture and shape instead of turning into solid black patches. Essentially, HDR helps the image pop off the screen with greater depth and realism. Now that you know what HDR is, let's talk about HDR10. The most common HDR format out there, HDR10, is what most TVs support right out of the box. It was developed as an open, royalty-free standard, which means manufacturers don't have to pay any licensing fees to include it. That's a big reason why it's so widespread. HDR10 uses what's called 10-bit color depth. In simple terms, that allows it to display over 1 billion different shades of color. The result is smoother gradients and far fewer color banding issues, compared to standard dynamic range, where colors can sometimes look blocky or artificial. But HDR10 has one key limitation. It uses what's known as static metadata. Metadata is basically the set of instructions that tell your TV how to display each scene, how bright the highlights should be, how deep the shadows go, and how colors are balanced. With static metadata, those instructions are locked in for the entire movie or show. So if one scene is really dark and another is bright and sunny, the TV is applying the same tone mapping to both. That can lead to some loss of detail or slightly less accurate color in certain scenes. Even with that limitation, HDR10 is still a massive step up from standard dynamic range content. It's bright, colorful, and cinematic, and because it's an open format, almost every HDR-capable TV and streaming device supports it. So now let's move on to the premium side of HDR, Dolby Vision. Dolby Vision was developed by Dolby, the same company that brought us Dolby Atmos sound, and it's considered a step above HDR10 in a few key ways. First, Dolby Vision supports up to 12-bit color depth. That means it's capable of showing tens of billions of colors, far more than HDR10. While most consumer TVs today can't quite display the full 12-bit range, the format itself is future-proof to support that level of detail as display technology improves. But here's the real difference. Dolby Vision uses dynamic metadata. Remember how HDR10 applies the same tone mapping to an entire movie? Dolby Vision does it scene by scene, and in some cases, even frame by frame. That means each scene is optimized individually based on what the filmmakers intended and what your specific TV is capable of showing. So when you're watching a dark, moody scene in a movie, Dolby Vision adjusts the brightness and color to preserve shadow detail. Then when it cuts to a bright outdoor shot, it dynamically boosts highlights and saturation so you get the full range of contrast. It's constantly analyzing the content to give you the best possible image in real time. The trade-off is that Dolby Vision is a licensed format. TV makers and streaming services have to pay Dolby to use it, which means not every device supports it. But where it's available, it often delivers a noticeably richer and more balanced image, especially on high-end TVs. So should you go out of your way to get a TV with Dolby Vision? That depends. If you're buying a mid-range or entry-level TV, HDR10 will still give you a great HDR experience. It's supported everywhere from Netflix and Disney Plus to Blu-ray discs and gaming consoles. You'll get a bright, detailed, and colorful image that's a major step up from SDR. If you're investing in a higher-end display, something with excellent brightness, contrast, and color performance, then Dolby Vision is definitely worth having. It gives content creators more flexibility, and you'll see the payoff with richer detail and smoother tonal transitions. But don't stress too much if your TV doesn't have Dolby Vision. HDR10 still delivers an excellent experience on most sets, and in many cases, the visual difference between the two formats is subtle unless you're really looking for it. So here's the bottom line. Both HDR10 and Dolby Vision are designed to make your movies and shows look more lifelike. HDR10 is the open standard that's available on practically every device, while Dolby Vision is the more advanced dynamic version that fine-tunes each scene for the best possible look. Dolby Vision can definitely produce better results, but only if your TV and content are capable of taking advantage of it. For most viewers, HDR10 already delivers that big visual leap that makes modern TVs so impressive. So next time you're shopping for a TV or streaming your favorite show, you'll know exactly what those logos mean and which one fits your setup best. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments, does your TV support Dolby Vision, and can you actually see the difference? Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one, and as always, stay savvy.